And then when you link through on the article, it is the Washington Post that's now gotten through the emails and letters and correspondence of his classmates. He was an atheist. He loved abortion. He loved communism. But now conservatives and libertarians and people that want to audit the Federal Reserve, we get blamed. In fact, here's a Raw Story article. They are flooding out of NPR, Raw Story, MSNBC so fast, it's making my head spin. Fox News is blaming conspiracy theories, though. The left is blaming Sarah Palin and Fox News. But Fox News isn't pointing out that the guy likes the Communist Manifesto. They're busy blaming conspiracy theorists. See, if you don't hear it from Fox News, it doesn't exist. I mean, I can hold up a government press release saying, okay, 1 part per million fluoride in your water is hurting you. They've now changed their story because the facts are in and they know it. And so they're just calling us conspiracy theorists over at Fox. Here's another one. Flashback. Conservatives mocked DHS report warning of anti-government violence. No, we didn't mock it when law enforcement gave it to me. We broke it almost 2 years ago in late January of 2010. We didn't mock it, or almost a year ago. No, over a year ago. I need to be technical there. No, that was in early 2010. I forget now. The point is it was over a year ago then. Point is I got the MIAC and Homeland Security reports here and from law enforcement, and it said Ron Paul stickers on your car. I mean, Charlotte Iserby, former head of Department of Education policy, took this off her car, this Ron Paul license plate, because she was afraid. That's a political chilling effect. That's what the 9,000 telescreens going in malls and Walmarts telling you to spy on other patrons for Homeland Security is about. What's your take on that, Jim Mars?
Well, first off, when I first moved out here to the country about 30 years ago, and I'd go into the little town, we'd make about 6 stops. We'd go to the grocery store and the clothing store and the feed store and the farm and ranch store and the pharmacy, you know, and now they're all gone. All of those are gone. The mom and pop shops are all gone. We just have to go to Walmart. So I have more than my share of experience at Walmart, and I want to tell you the thought that some of those people that I have seen at Walmart are now being urged to look around and report me if I look funny or say something funny. Just horrifies me.
Well, you do have a beard. You may be with Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, you never know. And isn't that funny? This guy, Jared Lee Laughlin, and isn't that funny that the bad guys always have 3 names: Mark David Chapman, Lee Harvey Oswald, Jared Lee Laughlin. I don't know, you know, and yet, but anyway, he's an atheist. He's pro-abortion, and he's pro-communist. You know, obviously he must be some kind of conspiracy theorist, right? I mean, where do they get this? How do they make these connections?
Well, a conspiracy theorist is anybody who doubts anything the government says. Like when they say unemployment's 9.6, every economist I have on says over 22%. 60 Minutes did their own study and said 23%. I guess 60 Minutes are conspiracy theorists now.
Well, wait. The greatest conspiracy theory I ever heard, and it's the worst one, is that 19 Muslim hijackers can simultaneously hijack 4 different airlines at different times, yet turn off their transponders all at the same time, and then unerringly guide them into prominent buildings.
After subduing the plane,
yeah. After subduing the plane, and all under the control of a Muslim cleric using a laptop computer in a cave in Afghanistan. Now, that isn't the screwiest conspiracy theory I ever heard of, but hey, that's what we're expected to believe. It's incredible. Let me tell you something. All this fluff that's going on, this is just divide and conquer. This is just keep us stewed around so we don't pay attention to the collapsing economy or the fact that we're not even winning in our occupations of Iraq and Afghanistan, and that our kids are just being totally turned into dumbed-down zombies. You know, it's just pablum for the zombies is all the world this is, and there's nobody that seems to be thinking we're all just being, pushed from pillar to post in reaction. We're just reacting to this, reacting to that. Why don't we all just get get together and decide that we're all American and that we'll agree to disagree, but we won't do it disagreeably, and we'll just do what's necessary to go back and return to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights that made this country the great country that it is, and we'll all just get together, like we pull together like we did.
Absolutely.
World War II.
Jim, I want you to get into your research on the missile. Recap what happened for those that forget and the new information that you've put together.
Oh, well, this is really something. See, we're being distracted. And where we're being distracted from, the very real possibility that we're already in a shooting war with China.
And it's funny, since you said that, Chinese generals are saying they're getting ready for war. They're moving away from the dollar. There's all these bizarre warlike statements coming out. They're our biggest debt owner. I mean, absolutely. I mean, let's get into it.
Okay, all right. China now feels like they are in a war with us, and up until recently it's been an economic war. They hold most of our debt, okay? And what are we doing? We're printing more and more money. We're letting the Federal Reserve System, which is private banks, print more worthless money to cover the losses of the mortgage and banking collapse. And as they print more money, that makes our debts worth less and less and less, and China feels like this is an attack. In late August, we did naval exercises in the South China Sea. We were firing off missiles and cruising things around, and we were kind of like flexing our military muscles, all right, showing China, you better keep accepting our money because we are the world's greatest military empire. Well, on November the 8th, apparently, China slipped a submarine within 30 miles of Los Angeles and fired off one of their new type missiles that set off an EMP pulse. All right, and according to the Russians, and as reported by CNN, they said this was a test to see if their electromagnetic pulse weapon would work and would be effective in that locality, and to see what the response time would be of the U.S. military.
And that was even on CNN. Wow.
Yeah. Now, what happened on November? And this missile was about 6 p.m. on Monday, November the 8th. What happened also on Monday, November the 8th? The giant modern cruise ship Carnival Splendor went dead in the water. All the engines quit, all their power went off, and they couldn't get it back on. Apparently, victims of the EMP pulse. And how long did it take for the carrier Ronald Reagan and the rest of the rescue operations to get out to them? 11 hours. 11 hours. That means a Chinese submarine can slip up to our coast, fire off a missile, put MIRV warheads in it, drop nukes on about 20 different cities, and then they got 11 hours to escape. It's absolutely incredible. And then, just to show that apparently this is still ongoing, is that, as you may or may not know, on January the 2nd, people down at Padre Island said they saw a missile go off down there. And our military down there at the naval bases and stuff said, no, we didn't fire anything off. And so what? Did they fire another missile? What happened down there? Everybody check, see if there was any reports of power outages down around Padre Island.
But going back to this cruise ship, I looked at the Times as well. Right at the same time, that's when that cruise ship lost all its power.
Right, and it's still in dry dock because they still hadn't figured out what caused everything to shut down.
And then they spun it in the media and said, oh, it really wasn't a missile, it was a contrail, despite the fact that former head rocket engineers at NASA, former Joint Chiefs of Staff members, they all came out and said it was a Polaris-type submarine-launched missile.
Exactly. Exactly, and Brigadier General Jim Cash, who is a former NORAD commander, says, in my opinion, there's no doubt that what was captured on video was a missile launch. So look, this is our media. We're almost in a war, and they're telling us it's a contrail. This would be like.
Oh, but you and the general are conspiracy theorists. Stay there. Let's do a few more minutes. The show's almost over, but I want to have you finish up on that point. Jim Marrs is our guest. Ooh, better not say I'm in an info war against the lies. Better not say I'm leading an assault against the lies. I'm supposed to just lay down. Oh, but then the ADL can't say they're tackling hate or that they are, launching attacks on it. Give me a break. The globalists want to shut us up while offshore banks rob us blind. No amount of martyrs for the establishment, no amount of them funding lunatics or protecting them is going to put this back together again. I want a peaceful restoration of our republic. But we've been right about all this stuff. And now it's the London Guardian. It's everybody saying talk radio, Sarah Palin. They're blaming David Icke, of all people. They're blaming people that support gold as the currency, though the guy wasn't even talking about that. And so what have he had? How does that affect me being against the Federal Reserve devaluing our dollar? They're desperate to change the subject. You got a better chance being struck by lightning or dying in a car accident, hundreds of times that, dying from terrorism. Many times better chance of dying from a honeybee sting, over 100-year die from that, than this type of lunacy. Okay? And it just shows you who the establishment are, that they want your free speech. And the FCC and others have said it. And Obama's trying to pass stuff right now for internet taxes and internet tracking everywhere you go. They're not playing games here, folks. And look at Mexico with total gun bans on the books, and they've had 30,000+ dead now in the last 2 years. A lot of them politicians and police. No free speech really to speak of. No Second Amendment. Much more dangerous. You will not take my guns. You will not take my free speech. Do you understand that, control-freak criminals that run this government? My founding fathers fought for my rights and my liberties, and I'm fighting for them right now, and you're not taking my free speech. Anybody that does is a tyrant. Now, you may say the people that stood up against Ceausescu or against Hitler were bad. You know, are all governments God? Does anybody have a right to say no? Jim Marrs, your final take on all of this.
Well, I would simply say, ask everybody who's listening, get out a little piece of paper and pencil and write down how many times the conspiracy theorists have been right. And then write down on another column, how many times has the government been caught in a lie? They've lied to us and been caught in it. And just see who's been telling you the truth, okay? And this whole thing about this missile that fired off the coast of California on November the 8th, I mean, obviously is a missile. You could see the flame, you could see the spin of the cylinder of the missile. And now we've gotten several knowledgeable military officers, including Brigadier General Jim Cash, who say that was a missile launch. And yet your government, the people you're paying your tax money to, they tell you, oh, well, there's no real threat to America.
And that was done right when Obama was meeting with the Chinese leader. Yeah. I mean, this was because our government had been running drills right off their coast.
Well, and that was their way of flexing their muscles, showing, hey, we got weapons too. You can't cow us. And by the way, Russia and China have downgraded the dollar from AA to A+.
And they're now only trading with each other in the Chinese currency, and world bondholders are starting to move in to the Chinese currency away from the dollar. And our media just says, hey, all of you people that saw that missile trail, forget it. You didn't see it. It never happened. Go back to sleep.
Go back to sleep. You know, I would put it this way. This would be like when Hitler invaded Poland in September of 1939, starting World War II. Our media might have told us, well, there was a traffic jam on the highways in western Poland this morning. Come on, people. Wake up and start thinking for yourselves, and let's start shaking these zombies awake around here before the only thing that is left to us is fighting back. And
absolutely,
we don't need to do that.
Absolutely. We're trying to fix things peacefully, but every time we turn around or turn a rock over, government or private groups are trying to finance violence so they can shut down political debate. But as Kennedy said, those that make peaceful resistance and political action impossible, make violent revolution inevitable. I'm paraphrasing that. In fact, guys, pull up a Kennedy quote about those that make peaceful revolution impossible, make violent revolution inevitable. I forget the exact quote. I want to get it straight.
That was the gist of it.
Yeah, Jim, I want to thank you for coming on, a best-selling author of many books. Also, his new book available at Infowars.com, The $1 Trillion Conspiracy. We'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Okay, thank you, Alex.
Thank you for giving us the time tonight. I love Jim Marrs. Folks all over the country and the world listening to Two Texans. He's up in DFW. I'm down here in the capital, Austin. Love talking to Jim. Love every once in a while meeting up with him and drinking a beer and smoking a cigar. Maybe that's why I don't ever meet up with Jim, because he drinks beer and smokes cigars, and then he's a bad influence on me. I'm just joking, folks. He is a great guy, an original type journalist with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram on the crime beat. and best-selling author, researcher. They don't make them like that anymore.